should be careful when you film with wet hair. What is up? What is happening, everybody? It is Janelle here with another video. Oh yeah. Comparisons. That jealousy that you have when you see someone who's doing something that you really want to do, but you can't do it at the moment. That ugly, green-eyed monster that comes and just says, be jealous and compare yourself and be more jealous. Matter of fact, the green-eyed monster might not be ugly because a lot of us seem to be friends with it. Oh, there's a mosquito that senses my blood and wants to eat me right now. Look at it climbing up the window. You can't get in, mosquito. Ooh, look at it. Disgusting. Okay. Comparisons. We do it all the time, and it sucks. Really? Is that where I wanted to go with that? Take the 100-meter dash, for example. You have to stay in your lane, okay? Hence the saying, stay in your own lane, okay? Because if you run into somebody else's lane, you're going to get disqualified. And that's like saying the moment that you decide to be somebody else, you are no longer being the person that you are meant to be and fulfilling your purpose. Fulfilling your purpose. I feel very strongly about this topic, clearly. And what I find particularly interesting too, and I'm so guilty of it, it's unreal. I will look at somebody else's situation, right, when they're in like their prime time almost, you know, shining, just on a pedestal, and look at my position down below where the worms like to hang around and everything like that, and think, why can't I be up there? Then I look at my surroundings and I look at what I'm doing, and then I think, oh wait, I'm not putting in the work. Okay, so it's almost as if I'm expecting for someone to just show up at my doorstep and say, hi Janelle, I don't know you, I've never met you or anyone who knows you, I've never emailed you, tweeted you, any social media to you, from you, or anything like that, but I have an amazing opportunity for you. But that's almost what I'm expecting. Like just lying in bed or just watching a bunch of shows over and over again and thinking, why am I not getting where I want to be? You know, the person that you're comparing yourself to might have the thing that you want or the life that you want or whatever the case may be, but don't think for a second that it was handed to them. They had to work their butt off, and if they didn't have to work their butt off, like that typical story of that family of lawyers who has a child who they also want to be a lawyer, but he wants to be something that they don't want him to be, and then they take away his trust fund and everything like that, and he loses all his connections and he is alone. He's gonna have to work his behind off to get where he wants to be. Because sure, he easily could have been a lawyer and his family could have given him plenty of opportunities and connections and things like that, but he wouldn't really want it because he was being somebody that he didn't want to be. And you know, this video isn't necessarily to say stop comparing yourself to people, because it's still gonna happen, but I think this video is meant to just open my eyes and your eyes, if I can, to just show how negatively impacting it is to compare yourself to people. So believe it or not, where I love YouTube, I'm not a big fan of social media at all, just because of how like obsessed with getting likes and getting followers that ensue when you decide to get on social media and be serious about it to that extent, you know, because then you look at someone's profile and be like, she has one more follower than I have. Let me go find a follower. Anybody, $10, I'll pay you $10 to be another follower for me. The moment you start doing that, you lose yourself, you lose your purpose. You just become so wrapped up in what everybody else is doing that you forget you are your main priority, that you should be making sure that you are doing what you possibly can to make sure that you are being the best person that you can be. You, count how many times times I said you there. Like, oh my gosh, okay, I have a story for you guys. So in grade 3, we had a math test, and I was racing against my classmate, and oh man, we were rushing through those questions. They were so easy, like 1 + 2 or whatever. I mean, whatever kind of math you're learning in grade 3 is probably more than 1 + 2, but just racing through it, finishing it, turning over the page, getting it done, blah blah blah. And we're looking like at each other, like, okay, who's gonna finish first? He's on like the 2nd page. I'm on the 3rd page. Oh my gosh, now he's on the 4th page. I'm still on the 3rd page. Let me hurry up, blah 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 blah. So we rush in to hand the paper in before the other person, and I think we actually ended up handing it in at the same time. So, you know, it was fun, whatever, cool. We were racing, comparing ourselves to each other, leading to competition and all that good stuff. I mean, no, that's not good stuff. It's not good stuff at all. Okay, anyways, you get my point, right? So, the next week, or whenever the teacher handed back the tests, she calls us up to her desk and she says, "Were you guys racing?" We're like, "No." "Well, you guys both got C+." We're like, "What? That was the easiest test I've ever written." And then we look through the test. Lo and behold, we both missed a page. Because we were rushing, because we were racing, because we were competing with each other, because we were comparing ourselves to each other. Oh man, the lesson that I learned that day. It's like, oh man, I could have gotten such a good mark had I just taken the time to focus on my own paper and not what my classmate was doing as well. See what I mean? You feel me? And I mean, what if we all skipped the really hard, the really challenging times that we all want to avoid? No one would be anywhere, because it is through those challenges that we figure out what works best. It's in the little things that we can appreciate once we've passed that stage. You know, like if we all said, okay, I don't want to work through this anymore, it's too hard, that would never be completed. It's just so funny to think about. Like, no path would have been paved and no one would have gotten anywhere. You know, like the typical example of Albert Einstein, who would work like hours around the clock thinking and figuring out the physics of this world and out of this world. And Bill Gates and even Steve Jobs and their crew, because we always like to think of that one name that paved the way for such and such thing, and then forget to mention all the crew members that helped them get to such and such place, right? So all of the people that helped them, and the people who are still inventing things and still being amazing creators, YouTubers, social media, we are all content creators. Even if it's a tweet, we are still creating something. And sometimes there are going to be some challenging times when we want to get someplace and we need to build a bridge to get over the river or the body of water that is in our way. You never realize it when you're in the moment, but when you can look back and be like, whoa, I learned a lot from that moment, and that was by far the time that I absolutely hated, but that is honestly the time that I appreciate the most, because it shaped me to the person that I am today and to the project that I have created. And then when that happens, you can say, I worked hard for this. I worked my behind off for this. No one can take that away from me, you know? And that feels so rewarding. And of course, I think it's important to also remember that we are coming from all different walks of life. Going back to the analogy of the track and field race, we all ended up at that race. You know, we all tried out and qualified for the race, but the way that we got there, I'm sure, is going to be different than everybody else here. You know, and then with that said, instead of us feeling so threatened by people who are at the same level as us or in the same position as us, I think we should be thankful that we all made it to begin with, and then focus on how you can better yourself. You know, if you are to challenge yourself and compete don't think that's the best term to use here, but compete with somebody, it should be yourself and not somebody else, because they're having their own race, they're doing their own thing, and so should you. And by all means, you should have a motivator. You know, maybe that's that person that you happen to be comparing yourself to also wants you to do well, and you also want that person to do well. So you guys both go to exercise in the morning and push each other to do better each time. But to do it out of negativity, or to do it because you don't wish the best for that person, will not end well. And last but not least is the idea that you can read any self-help book on whatever it is you need, right? So on confidence, comparisons and competing with someone, on having a good outlook on life, but nothing is going to change until you decide to take action and implement that change. Because take it from me, honey, I have read so many self-help books, and after I've closed the book, I say, wow, 10 steps ahead. And then I walk out the door and do the exact opposite that it said, and then I say, wow, 15 steps back. Great. So keep yourself motivated and enjoy the process. The process is the best part of it, I think. And in doing that, your life will be better. Your life will be better. All right. Welcome to the end. You guys can click down below for the previous video, or here, social media, or up here to subscribe because you want to see more videos. Oh, because you want to see more videos. Good morning, noon, and night, wherever you are in the world, and I shall talk to you again next Wednesday. Bye.